an island wrapped almost always in mist. Yet an island where sunlight is lovelier than anywhere. An island that rises precipitously out of the sea and towers above the sea, yet also slopes gently toward the sea. An island that has known conquest upon conquest, but has also known victory upon victory. An island whose monuments are legendary, duplicated nowhere, and whose country inns are equally legendary, duplicated the island over. An island of kings and queens, of lords and ladies, yet also an island that has cradled the institutions of democracy. An island that set Christian brother against Christian brother for centuries, yet also an island on which for centuries valid prayers have been offered. The Capella of Calvin College spent January of 1975 on this island. We went to look and to listen, to observe and to learn, to watch and to bear witness. We also went to this island to sing and to pray. We went to sing and to pray on this island where for centuries Christian song and Christian prayer have been valid. We went to England. One of the historic monuments we visited was Stonehenge, a ruin of huge rocks dragged to the top of a hill in southern England, and by some superhuman effort set on end and arranged into a vast semicircle. No one knows exactly how Stonehenge was used in those prehistoric days. Some say that it was a huge astronomical clock. Others hold that it was an altar for human sacrifice.
A peaceful heart to you now. I have seen our terrible gods come down to beg the crumbs which fall from our sins, their only means of life. This evening you and I can walk under the trees and be ourselves together, knowing that this wild day has gone for good. We have heard word of God, and felt our lonely flesh welcome to creation. The fearful silence became the silence of great sympathy, the quiet of God and man in the mutual word. And never again need we sacrifice, on and on and on, greedy of the gods' goodwill, but always uncertain. For sacrifice can only perfectly be made by God, and sacrifice has so been made, by God to God, in the body of God with man, on a tree, set up at the four crossing roads of earth, heaven, time, and eternity, which meet upon that cross. I have heard this, and while we listened with our eyes half shut, facing the late sun, above the shoulder of the speaking man, I saw the crossroad tree. The love of God hung on the motes and beams of light.
Merrily sang the monks at Ely, when Canute the king rode by. Row, knights, nearer to the land, and hear we these monks sing. For long, Ely held out against the Norman conquerors under Hereward the Wake. But when the Normans did arrive in 1081, they started to build the most enormous abbey they could over the bones of St. Etheldreda, partly to the glory of God, and partly to show East Anglia that they meant to reign supreme. And there it is today, that huge Norman nave with its western tower in creamy Barnack stone. The Norman Abbey was a cross-shaped building with a central tower. I don't suppose that there's a more elaborate east end to a cathedral in England, except the Angel Choir at Lincoln, than that which was added to Ely in the 13th century. 6 bays of many moulded arches, 3 stories high, stone vaulted, and with sculptures, corbels, and bosses, dark Purbeck marble columns contrasting with paler limestone. Then, one day in 1322, there was a terrible disaster. The central tower fell and smashed the choir and part of the transepts. The monks were quite undaunted, and Alan of Walsingham, the flower of craftsmen as he was called, constructed one of the most amazing pieces of timber engineering in the world. High over the tower crossing, he built a low stone octagon, from which he built out timber vaulting, supporting yet another octagon of wood, with angle posts 60 feet long and a yard thick. How they were lifted up into position 100 feet high, those huge timbers, all those years ago, goodness knows. Anyhow, here it is still, the famous lantern of Ely. Outside, a beacon to the fens. Inside, the most amazing vaulting of huge space I've ever seen, a great starfish of glass and painted wood. There wasn't room at the east end to build a lady chapel because of the slope of the ground, and so many visitors miss another glory of Ely, the huge light lady chapel which you come to through the north transept. It was built in the 14th century by the same Alan of Walsingham while he was constructing the lantern. Along its walls are canopied stalls, delicately carved with leaves and flowers and faces in white chalk, as are the 2 superb chantry chapels at the east end of the choir, which were built in the 15th century. There is today a varied and fascinating series of Victorian stained glass windows in the cathedral, but what it must have looked like with the medieval glass in, and when the walls were painted, and there were screens and coloured altars and twinkling lights here and there, we can still faintly imagine. But East Anglia, you know, was a stronghold of the Puritans, and all the old glass was smashed by them, and most of the carved figures were decapitated. Ely was a very remote place until the coming of the railway in the last century. There's a tale that a Norfolk squire, before railway days and when Napoleon threatened to invade, had his carriage ready for driving to Ely, as he knew he'd be safe there. And even today, if they stopped the pumps of the fen drainage working, Ely would be an island in a few hours. And on this island, in this masterpiece of architecture, you'll hear the choir